Turn off the lights right now, and something ancient wakes up inside you. Your heart rate climbs, your ears sharpen, your eyes strain against nothing, hunting for a shape that isn't there. You're a grown adult in a locked room in a safe house, and some quiet part of your brain is absolutely certain you are about to die. You know there's nothing there. You know it, and it doesn't help at all. We treat this as a childish thing, a phase, something you're supposed to grow out of. But the fear of the dark isn't a flaw in your brain. It's one of the oldest and most successful survival programs ever written. And the reason it feels irrational is the most interesting part of the whole story. Let's start with a simple truth. You were never afraid of the dark. Darkness is just the absence of light. It can't hurt you. A dark room and a lit room contain exactly the same objects, the same air, the same nothing. So why does one of them feel like a threat? The answer is that the dark doesn't add a danger. It removes a defense. Humans are daytime animals. We are built almost completely around our eyes. Roughly a third of your brain is devoted to processing what you see. Vision is your primary early warning system, the way you spot the threat before the threat reaches you. Now take it away. In darkness, your most important sense goes blind, and your brain is left holding a map of the world with most of it erased. It knows something could be out there. It just can't confirm that there isn't. And to a brain shaped by survival, those two things are not the same. And this isn't something you were taught. Watch any child. You can raise a kid in the safest home on earth. Never let a scary story near them. Never once tell them the dark is dangerous. And around the age of 2, almost like a switch flipping, they become afraid of it anyway. The fear of the dark is one of the most common fears in human childhood, and it shows up on schedule, whether anyone teaches it or not. That's the tell. A fear that has to be learned can be unlearned. A fear that arrives on its own, in every child, in every culture, isn't a bad habit. It's an instinct. And instincts only get written into a species one way, by keeping the ones who had it alive. But here's where it gets older than you. For most of human history, the dark was not a feeling. It was a place where things ate you. In 2005, anthropologists Donna Hart and Robert Sussman published a book called Man the Hunted. For decades, the story we told about ourselves was that early humans were fearsome hunters who dominated the food chain. Hart and Sussman looked at the actual fossil evidence, the puncture wounds, the gnaw marks, the skulls, and found something humbling. For most of our existence, we weren't the predator. We were prey. Leopards, lions, hyenas, ancient cats with teeth like daggers. And every one of them shared a single advantage we did not have. They could see in the dark, and we could not. So when the sun went down, the rules of the world flipped. The daylight belonged to us. The night belonged to them. Our ancestors who wandered into the dark, who felt comfortable in it, who didn't feel that cold spike of dread when the light failed, those ancestors got eaten. They didn't pass on their genes. The ones who survived were the nervous ones. The ones who, the moment darkness fell, felt every muscle tighten and every sense scream, "Get to safety, get to the fire, get away from the dark." You are descended from the cowards, and you should be grateful for it. But evolution didn't just leave you a memory. It left you a machine. Deep in your brain sit two small almond-shaped clusters called the amygdala. This is your threat detection center. Its entire job is to scan for danger and pull the alarm before your conscious mind even knows what's happening. The amygdala has a bias, and it's a deliberate one. It would rather be wrong 100 times than be right too late. Mistake a stick for a snake, and you lose a second of your life. Mistake a snake for a stick, and you lose all of it. So your brain is tuned to assume the worst, to treat uncertainty itself as a threat. Now put that machine in the dark. You take away the vision it needs to confirm safety, and the amygdala does exactly what it evolved to do. It fills the blank with the worst thing it can imagine. That shape in the corner becomes a figure. That creak becomes a footstep. This is why you see faces in a dark room that isn't occupied. The same wiring that lets you recognize a friend across a crowd will, given nothing to work with, assemble a stranger out of shadow and hang him in the doorway. The darkness isn't generating monsters. Your own survival hardware is, and it's doing it on purpose, because for 300,000 years, the brains that assumed the dark was empty died in it. And if you think you've outgrown it, the lab says otherwise. In 2012, researchers at Ryerson University in Toronto decided to test something most adults would never admit. They suspected that a lot of people who can't sleep aren't really afraid of sleep, they're afraid of the dark. They brought poor sleepers and good sleepers into the lab and did something simple. They played a sudden, harmless noise, first with the lights on, then with the lights off, and measured how hard each person flinched. In the light, both groups reacted about the same, but in the dark, the poor sleepers jumped harder. And worse, they didn't calm down. A normal nervous system hears a noise, checks it, and relaxes. Theirs stayed braced, again and again, as if the next sound might be the one that mattered. The researchers found that a striking number of adults with insomnia were, by their own quiet admission, afraid of the dark. Grown men and women in their own bedrooms, lying awake because some part of them was still standing guard against a predator that died out 10,000 years ago. You didn't outgrow the fear. You just learned to stop talking about it. So here's the truth underneath all of it. The fear of the dark was never irrational. It might be the most rational fear you have ever felt. Older than language, older than your species, written into you by every ancestor who survived a night they almost didn't. It feels irrational now only because we won. We built fire, then walls, then cities, then a switch on the wall that erases the night entirely. We are the first humans in history who can make the dark disappear on command. And we've done it so completely that the ancient alarm has nowhere to point. So it points at nothing. A dark hallway, an empty room, the space at the foot of your bed. The monster was never under there. The monster is the machinery, the same machinery that kept a small, slow, soft animal alive on a planet full of things that hunted it in the night. Tonight, when you reach for the light switch before stepping into a dark room, you won't think about any of this. You'll just do it, the way you always have. the way they always did. Because somewhere far back, past the cities and the fire and the language, one of your ancestors stood at the edge of the dark, felt that cold spike of fear, and chose to stay where the light was. And that's the only reason you're here to be afraid at all.